Welcome. I wanted to talk about Mr. Rutland in A Question of Priorities, portrayed by Philip Maddock. As a quick note, he also appears in Destruction as the ship's captain, but that is definitely supposed to be a different character, so we'll talk about him another time. Since Commander Straker is my absolute favorite UFO character, I honestly barely noticed that Rutland was there the first few times I watched this episode. From moment one, he's worried about Mary because she's been out front talking to Ed alone for quite a while, and that's a bit worrying unless, of course, you're in the know, like the audience is. Think about it. He's probably heard the story of Confetti Check A-OK from Mary and her parents' perspective, without any of the information that we have. My guess is it went something like this. My ex-husband was hardly ever home, and then he started cheating on me. We have pictures to prove it. While I was pregnant, he came home, we got into a fight, and he hurt me. So, to protect myself and future little Johnny, I left.
All right, I'll tell you everything.
No,
everything.
It's no good, Ed.
What
I
I'm gonna
can't
tell
take
you.
anymore.
This may
I don't
sound
want your
crazy.
life. No,
Please,
don't.
Mary! Mary!
With this in mind, if I was Rutland, I would be like, oh my goodness. If he ever comes over, I will be right over there. Like right over there. I would totally have been doing the same thing, just hovering in the background. You better behave or else. Watch his reaction in this first scene, and you can just tell. He's like, you are not hurting Mary.
We're all perfectly all right.
But he also doesn't force his way into the conversation. He's just like, I'm here if you need me. You're not slapping her again on my watch. And then, of course, Johnny is hit by the car. And in that moment, he could have gone over to Straker and just lost it at him. But instead, he turns to Mary and he just takes her and holds her as she screams. And is just there for her because it's not about him. In that moment, he is only interested in what she needs and what Johnny needs. When they arrive at the hospital, he quietly takes her hand. Doesn't try to say a bunch of platitudes. Doesn't tell her it's going to be okay. He's just there for her. And even though he really does not like Commander Straker, he steps back during the conversation with the doctor because he's like, I'm here, but this is really about you too. It's your child and it's your decisions. And he's just like, not really my place to jump in until he's needed. When he's like, can I charter a plane to get this medication? Like, what can I do? He only interrupts this moment in an attempt to be helpful.
I have to leave.
You always had to leave.
We'll stay and see the boy through, Mary.
Tell your contact to ask for Dr. Ashley.
This is also the scene where I kind of developed my opinion about what Mary told him about Ed. Look at her raw anger right here. You always had to leave. That's the only side of Straker that he has seen. Her abandonment and pain. She doesn't know why he did it. Rutland doesn't know. But his reaction, again, is not to yell, but to turn to Mary and reassure her that he is not going anywhere, that he cherishes her and their time together, and that he is not going anywhere. It is easy as audience members and Straker fans to be like, but Ed was off to save the world. You wouldn't even have a planet if it wasn't for him. Well, Yes, but they didn't know that. All he sees is Mary's flaky ex walking off to go to work in the middle of a family emergency. And what's his job? He makes films? What's the emergency? They got the wrong color set? This is what's probably running through his mind. Like, seriously. Ed is acting all melodramatic about, I have to go. To do what? You're a movie producer. There's a reason that Mary chose the name John Rutland when admitting him to the hospital. Not John Straker. In this next scene, we don't actually see him on camera. We see close-ups of Mary. This is the phone call where Straker is reassuring her and promising everything's going to be okay. He has taken care of it. There's nothing to worry about, which is heart-wrenching considering what happens later. Rutland probably either saw the whole thing or she told him afterward. So he's aware that this happened, that Ed promised her.
The drug is on its way. Everything will be all right, Mary.
Don't let Johnny down this time, Ed. Don't let us down. All right.
We see him basically watch her fall apart the rest of the episode. From his perspective, the woman he adores is suffering because her ex couldn't be bothered to take time off work to help her, letting her down after promising not to.
It hasn't arrived yet.
This leads us, of course, to the transport going to drop off mobiles instead of the antibiotic that John needs.
Mrs. Rutland, it's for you.
No. I'll take it. Look, I'd like to explain to Mary. It's been delayed.
I love how he jumped up here to run interference. She is barely hanging in there at this point, so he was probably hoping to take the quick call and save her the trouble. And then when he realizes what's happened, what Ed has done, he warns her and then steps back. He could have started angrily shouting into the phone at Ed, like, how could you do this, blah, blah, blah. But he realized, no, this is about Mary. She needs to be the one to decide what to do. He puts her first again. And then when the conversation starts spinning out of control, that's where he steps in to protect her.
You don't understand.
No, I don't understand. I'll never understand.
The rest of the episode, we basically see him cradling her in his arms, almost keeping her from falling at several points toward the end in that haunting final scene, with her despair echoing off the walls. Rutland is not a background character. His gentle compassion, unwavering support, and feisty fire when it's needed has put him onto the characters to watch for list. On a final note, because it would not be one of my videos without a fashion commentary, notice that Ed and Mary are both wearing very light pastel type colors. Rutland is in black, almost like a stagehand, adding a melancholic touch to the scene that really fits with the story. In fact, you see him at the beginning and he's just holding his black jacket. And then after John is hit, from then on, he's wearing all black. If you ever rewatch A Question of Priorities, keep an eye out for him. I think Mary is in good hands with her second husband. As much as I love and respect Commander Straker, I respect Rutland as well. Interceptors, Immediate launch.